Hey everyone, welcome back to Maker's Gonna Sublimate. We are so excited to have you here today for the highly anticipated video on how to convert an Epson Eco Tank. Now the reason why we absolutely love working with the Epson Eco Tanks is for one big reason. These printers right here come with no ink in the tank. So that gives us the ideal opportunity to swap it out for our very own sublimation ink. Now today we are working with the StarCraft sublimation ink. As you guys know, we work very closely with StarCraft and a lot of their brands for product. So these are the ones we're using. I have tested these and I absolutely love the results that you get with this, and it's available at 143 Vinyl. So we have this link down below. I want to also let you guys know there's 2 or 3 other ones. We have previously tested Cosmo ink, and they all work really great. So make sure to go with an ink that you absolutely love. Another thing I want to let you guys know is if you are only going to have one sublimation printer, I want you to consider what size you're going with. This one right here, you can only do 8.5 by 11, which is the largest this printer right here can go. So if you're wanting to do any super large designs, anything like that, like 11 by 19 or 13 by 19 and things like that, you definitely want to consider getting a larger printer first. So before you invest in this printer right here specifically, again, there are limitations. For example, this will not be able to do a 20-ounce tumbler wrap. So be careful about that. And if you're wanting to do a full-on, say an extra large t-shirt for a full-on design, this right here does not have the capabilities for it. So what we've done is in our previous video, we've linked some of the printers that we do recommend for that. And they are a little more expensive right now, but it's definitely worth the investment so that you're not limited, because what I don't want you to do is invest in this one, which may be a little bit more affordable today, but then a month later be obsessed with sublimation and then say, whoa, I have to get a whole new printer. So make sure to make that decision first. And again, we've done all the research we can to get you access to links and to products that we have found to be available. And we're trying to keep that up to date as possible for you guys, because I know inventory is shifting, products are shifting. So we're doing our best to give you guys the latest and greatest when it comes to choosing your printer, because I know a lot of you guys may be brand new to sublimation and may not even have a printer yet. Now, what I also want to mention about when you commit to a printer, I highly want to recommend committing to your ink. You really want to consider what ink you're going with from your first project on. Now, for the most part, you don't know what ink is going to be best for you, but we don't really recommend swapping out brands. So if you think like, okay, I'm gonna load it with StarCraft today, but then maybe next time I load it, I'll use Cosmo or anything like that, that isn't really recommended, as they're formulated all a little bit different. So I highly recommend staying committed to one brand. So do your research. I love the StarCraft, and I think you guys will too, but it's not to say that other inks won't work just as well. So do what you can to stay stocked up with your favorite sublimation ink, as there are starting to be quite a bit of different ones out there in the marketplace. What I'm excited about today is that we're going to set up this printer together, and a lot of you, if you're like me, get really overwhelmed setting up a printer and trying to do everything tech-wise on linking it to your Wi-Fi and things like that. So today I'm going to walk with you through how I set up my printers, and it's going to be really great. We're going to put all our ink in there and we're going to run the beginning test. One of my favorite things is to do the first trial test just on copy paper. So any copy paper will work for this. You don't have to do those test prints on sublimation paper. There's really no need. One thing to note when you're doing those test prints, we want to make sure that you are aware of what it's like when you print on your sublimation paper or copy paper, okay? So whether you're printing on sublimation paper or copy paper, this is always gonna be the case. You're gonna notice that your black may look a little gray, and all your tones are just gonna be toned down, because what's happening is the ink gets activated from the heat of your heat source, okay? So that's where, after you sublimate it, that's where you're getting those really vibrant colors. All the time on your sublimation paper, copy paper, anything like that, you are going to see that this is very dull. When you heat activate it and it transfers over onto your blank, that's when you can peel it up and see those super vibrant colors. So as you print this through and do those test prints, what you want to focus on is how many lines are in the print, and making sure that there's no lines. That's the number one thing that these test prints are going to do for you. Not so much, is it bright enough? Is it vibrant? Questions like that. Because as long as you don't see any lines, when you transfer it over, those grayer tones will turn very dark and rich blacks. I hope that makes sense, but as we go through this process, you'll see what I mean, and we're super excited. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to take our printer out of the box and start setting it up. All right, so there is going to be ink that you get in here, and all you want to do is throw it away, or you can keep it and use with a different printer. But once you convert this to sublimation, you will have a very hard time converting it back, and we do not recommend that because the ink is already going to be in there and everything like that. So we're just going to open this up here. It's letting us know, to make sure when transporting what to do with the ink and things like that, but we'll be keeping it right here in our studio. So you can see that it's letting you know that it includes a bonus black bottle of ink. Unfortunately, we're not going to be using that. We have our own ink to use today. And now we're just going to pull this out. So here we go. We lifted it out of the box, and then we're just going to take this to the side. I'm actually going to leave all the ink in here aside from the power cord. So all the inks go be in here. I'm just gonna sit that right there, because again, it's not really helpful for us. And just to go into a little bit more detail for you, when we say, once you add the sublimation ink, we want you to know that this is primarily a sublimation printer now. You will not have any other ability to even switch out those ink cartridges, because what's happened is that all of that sublimation ink is actually inside the printer. So it would be a very long and hard process to flush it out. There are videos on the internet to do so, but they're very tricky, and there's a lot of times that they just completely do not work right. So our recommendation for you guys at home is, once it's a sublimation printer, it's a sublimation printer. And again, we really want to help make sure that you guys know, try to stick with those same brands for ink if possible. So we're just going to unbox this right here, get it unwrapped. It's a very light printer, I will say. Some of them online, like when I was looking at it online, I was like, okay, this is a very large printer. This one's not too heavy. It is a little bit larger than like our Canon printer. So if you have been using a Cricut and you craft with us, you might have a Canon that we love for print and cut. It's an inkjet, it's great. This one's a little bit bigger, but not too much bigger. So I'm just gonna open up this and come back. All right, my friends, so I'm super excited because at this step, one of the things I took off of the printer was just a quick little graphic for us to know how to apply the ink. And all it's saying is, like, let's not squeeze it in really fast. Let's go nice and slow. One thing I love about the EcoTank, look right here. So you can actually see your levels, which is very, very helpful, my friends, so that you can look at the lines and make sure that you are filling it up properly. And when it gets down to the, the low marker, you'll be able to fill it up, and you're able to look at it very often right down here and always see it. So how you're going to be able to access that is you're going to lift up on your printer lid, just like so. And then what we're going to do is lift this open. So this is going to close back down, that's fine. But now we have opened our tray. So you have your black, your yellow, your magenta, and your cyan. So those right there, you have them. And the best part, my friends, is that you're all ready to go. Like, these are going to be pretty set for you. So like I was saying, these are all ready to go. So as we fill each color, we're going to open it just like here. You'll hear a little click. And then after we fill it up, we'll be able to click it once again to make sure that it's closed down. So you'll hear a slight click, and then when you close, you'll hear a click, and you'll see that they all line up really well. All right, at this step, we're going to open up our ink and get it ready. StarCraft sells these individually, so if you want to stock up, or I think they also offer it in a set, so that's fantastic. And you can notice that it actually comes upside down. So a lot of these will be upside down. So we're going to unpackage these and just get these ready before I put my gloves on. I highly recommend having gloves on for this process because you are dealing with ink, and the sublimation ink is very strong, and this would be very hard to wash out. So I just want you all to be careful. So what I'm doing is just unboxing this, and then I'll just line these up with the particular color. So we'll just line that up here, and then I'm just opening these with my X-Acto knife, and then unboxing this just like so. So you can see here's our blue, cyan, we have our yellow right here. And we're just unboxing and opening these up. So you'll want to do the same just to help you get prepared. And now we're going to open up the black. Okay. So we'll start with the black first. It'll take the longest because look right here, it's the largest tank. Before we move forward, I am going to glove up. I highly recommend you guys getting some gloves on for this process. You do not want to get ink on those fingers. So I'm just wearing some gloves, just like so. And this process is not hard at all. Like, it's not tricky. It's just slow and steady. It's going to win the race. I am using a countertop that I can wipe off if there's any ink. If you are using something you're worried about, have some paper down, have something like that. All right, so I want you guys to see this. So you unscrew at the bottom, just like so. And then what you're gonna see here is that we have to remove this cap piece because you will not have ink flowing unless you remove this piece right here. All right, my friends, so I will say it was a little tricky opening that up. There's some metal there, so just be careful. So now we're gonna put the lid back on. And what I love about this right here is after you get the lid back on, you're gonna want to hold down the bottom piece of plastic and then unscrew the top lid like so, and then boom, you have the contraption that is gonna allow us to fill up our black ink. So I've moved to the front of the printer, and then what we're going to do here is we're going to open up the black cartridge. And here is what we're going to do to fill it up. We're going to line this up, and then we're going to hold this, press it in, and then we're going to slightly press. So you can just press gently, and we already see it filling up down at the bottom, which is fantastic. All right, so see how we're just pressing this nice and easy. We're going nice and slow with our presses. And look, we're already filling up right here. We're already to the looks to be the third mark, which is fantastic. All right, so we're at the fourth mark, and we're almost to the very top. So you can actually hear it going in there. And then what we're going to do is after it gets to the top mark, we're gonna pull it out. Okay, and when I pull it out, like, it stops. Like, that's what I love about this. So it stops right there, that's fantastic. And then we can set this to the side, and it used almost all the ink. So now we're just going to repeat this for each one. Again, I'll walk you through with the yellow. All right, friends, so we opened this bottle right here. We're going to add this again, tighten it up, and then we're going to unscrew. This is really important. We've got to close our black. Our black is full. Close that down. Let's open the yellow, just like so. And now we're going to hold this up and then insert right here. And then you can hear it already filling up, and we're already at our bottom marker. So we're just going to continue filling this up, and you can actually hear the ink going in there and see it with your Eco Tank. So again, this is super easy. Like, this is the refill process. This is the filling process. This is the converting process, my friends. So it's not tricky, not overwhelming at all. After we're done with our 4 colors, guess what our next step is? Just to connect our printer and get going. Okay, so we hit our top marker. We're going to close our yellow. And now what I'm going to do is repeat for the other two colors, and then we'll come back. All right, so we've been able to load this all in. Now we want to go ahead and close our EcoTank, and then we can let this close. I've went ahead and plugged in our power cable. So we're going to insert this in the back right back here. And now what it's wanting us to do is to open this tray. You're always going to want to utilize the back tray right here. This is very helpful. So you just open it upright, and then we're going to pull this out to the 8.5 by 11 size. And then we're going to insert our paper. So you can go ahead and put that in here. So there's our paper. And now we're going to go ahead and turn on the device. So we're just going to press the power button. Once you turn your printer on, you're going to go through and select English. And now it's preparing, and we'll go through a few other questions. This right here just says preparing, so it'll take about 10 minutes to go ahead and prepare. So now it's reminding us like, hey, you need to fill your tanks, but we've already did that. So we're just going to press OK. So once you filled the tanks, now we're going to hold down the question mark button for 3 seconds. So it's going to start the initiation, and we're going to confirm the tanks. So we can just press this button right over here, which is our little triangle icon. We are going to press that to start. So this process right here takes about 10 minutes. It's just going to fill up all those ink cartridges through the entire printer, getting it ready to print. All right, friends, so it's already done, and you can see that your levels will drop a little bit. That's totally normal. Some people recommend going ahead, opening this back up, and going ahead and filling it up a little bit more since you have your ink out. You don't have to do that, but you could do that now if you wanted. So we'll press OK, and now it's letting us know that we want to align the printer to get the best print quality. So you can click Adjust, and you can go ahead and do one of these tests. So we can go ahead and let it perform a print head nozzle check. So we'll press OK, and it's letting us know to load that paper in, and then we want to press this triangle button right here. Pull this tray out. So it's saying, hey, are they missing any segments? And some of our yellow segments aren't really there, so we can kind of see them. I guess they are there. I wish you guys could see this as well as I can, but all of our lines are there, and it lets us know everything. So that seems to be good. So we can press no, and then we can, let it fix any misalignment. So we can click Adjust, and then we can press Print again. So now this one's going to print a little bit more thorough, just to make sure that all our lines are out and that all the ink is loaded through and going through the printer really well. All right, friends, so it printed this out next, and what it's saying is to look at the printout and choose boxes with the least lines. On the next screen, select numbers. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. All right, so after you selected all that, it's going to ask you to print it one more time. So we're just going to confirm and let it print once more. So it printed out one last sheet, and it let me go ahead and select which one of these looked the best and that didn't overlap. So I selected that number, and then it said, okay, great. You were all set up, and now we get to go through and connect this printer to the internet, which a lot of you guys may be saying, Tanner, that is the hardest part about printers. So we're going to walk together with you. And one thing I did not notice was that I didn't see a USB port that came with this printer. It could still be in the box, but I want to share with you my favorite hack when it comes to connecting any printer, anything like that. And that is, if you guys have the Cricut cords, which I know you do, these work with your printers. So we're going to plug this in right back here. We're just going to go ahead and plug it in just in the back of the printer. And I'm using one of the newer Macs. So they took away USBs for a short time and only had USB-C. So for me, I have an adapter, goes from USB to USB-C. We call them dongles around here. So I have a dongle added on here, but if your computer or device has a direct USB port, you will not need that. And if you're watching this video later in 2022, you will know that the new MacBooks, they brought back the HDMI, the USB, and things like that, and MagSafe and all that. So I'm just gonna plug this in. And here in a moment, we are going to follow the instructions and download the software to get our printer all set up, because we're almost ready to go. Like, I'm so excited to be able to sublimate with this printer very soon. So let's go ahead and take a look. All right, friends, so we're just going to go to the Epson website. For us, it's epson.com/support/ET2760. So that right there is just the printer number. And look, here we go. We have it, and it's going to let us download it. So it already detected our operating system. You can always change it if needed. And you can click download. It quickly downloads a program. You're going to want to go to your download folder, or it pops up here in Chrome. You can click it, and it's going ahead and opening up the software. So now we're going to double click on the Epson, and it's verifying. And now we're going to want to click open. We downloaded this off the internet, so it's asking, is it safe to download? We're going to select yes, so open. And now the quick installer pops up. You guys may have seen these before. They're pretty simple, whether you're on PC or Mac. We'll press continue, continue, agree, install, and yes. So there it goes, quickly downloading this program. It's going to ask for your password, so I'm going to provide that really quickly. And now it's finishing. It says it may take a while, but I don't think it should take too long at all. All right, so now it's saying click start to begin the printer setup. So we're going to press start. And we are going to let them know that confirm the ink is charged. So we've went ahead and did all that. We're going to press continue. We're going to set it up via wireless connection. If you always wanted to connect your printer to your device, you could select direct USB connection, but we're going to do wireless today. We're going to set the printer up for the first time. So we're going to add it to my existing wireless network. And yes, we are going to select auto connect. So if the printer shuts off and then you turn it back on later, it's going to auto connect to your network. Now you're going to select the name. So I'm going to select Maker's Gonna Learn LLC, and then we're going to type in that password real quick. All right, my friends, my internet connected, so I can unplug this cord, and now I'm gonna be able to print wirelessly with my printer. I even got my report printed, and it says everything is working perfectly. So we've been able to set up this printer. We went through put the cartridges in. We filled them up with our sublimation ink today. We went through, registered our Epson with our computer, connected it to the internet, and here's the fun part. Now it is time to start sublimating. Now, my friends, I want to encourage you, your first 1 to 3 prints of sublimation, like full-on sublimation images, take a look at those and be sure to do those on test fabrics. We do not want you to commit to one of your first prints on something you care a lot about. You want to verify that everything is printing really well. So I want to encourage you to make sure you're getting the best of your sublimation paper and things like that. Ways to avoid it is going through and making sure to do what I did. I went through and selected the correct numbers and the correct lines to have everything lined up perfectly to try to avoid that the best that I can. But when you start printing those big, large images with a lot of color, you may run into a few issues only in your first 1 or 2, maybe 3 prints. So be careful and be very mindful when you're doing that, but hopefully it'll look great on your first print. But it's very common and very normal if that may happen on your first 2 or 3 prints. So I'm so excited. I hope you enjoyed today's training, and I'll see you in the next one. See you guys.